welcome to Get Funked, everybody. It's another Thursday night. I'm looking at the counter. I got 3,000 people checking in tonight, brothers, and I appreciate all of you. So let me get the sponsors out of the way here first. TheWrestlingUniverse.com. This is your one-stop shop for all your wrestling needs, all your merchandise. They have all kinds of WWE, WCW, TNA, UFC, WCW, ECW action figures, past, present, and I'm sure future. They carry t-shirts, wrestling cards, autographed 8x10s, mask, belts, and much more. TheWrestlingUniverse.com. Check them out. Also, use code MWA pod, or I'm sorry, that's a different one. Go back to the WrestlingUniverse.com. My bad. Okay, so if you're ever in the New York area, this WrestlingUniverse.com, they have in-store autograph signing with some of the biggest names from the wrestling world. So if you're in New York, go check it out at the WrestlingUniverse.com. All their autographed items come with a certificate of authenticity, and they ship internationally. So if you're over in Australia and Victoria, check them out. They'll ship over there to you. TheWrestlingUniverse.com. Next sponsor, Sleeps.com. So listen here. Sleeps.com. If you or anybody in your family is an athlete, you got to check out Sleeps.com. They got dirty boxers. They got mouthpieces, arm sleeves, headbands, knee pads, whatever you want for your sporting needs. Check them out. MWA pod is your code to get a 10% discount. Sleeps.com. Also, check out healthvape.com. Now, healthvape.com, if you're going to vape, everybody, you might as well vape the healthy way. They're your healthy vaping alternative. They're infused with vitamins. They have no nicotine, no harmful chemicals. And if you're going to vape, you might as well use healthvape.com. And then use your code MWA pod. You get 10%. Makes sense, right? It's that easy. MWA pod 10%. You can't get any easier than that. So, all right, we got my next guest. As you can tell, he's a good-looking guy, kind of like me, bald guy, you know. But he's on here for round two. This guy's done so much in the world. He's done Division I football at Louisville. He played the NFL. He went to WWF, WWE, WCW. He wrestled all over the world. This guy's done everything, and now he's driving monster trucks. If all the crap he did before wasn't enough, Chad Fortune said, "Screw you! I'm going to drive a monster truck, and I'm going to be good at it. I'm the soldier of fortune. I got 2 trucks." Guess what, everybody? Back for part 2, Chad Fortune. Let's hear it for him. What's up, Chad?
Nice to see you again, Allan. Hey, you know what? I want to say something. When we were I'm watching your promo, your intros there, and the Kiwi gimmick. I just love the Kiwi gimmick. But I wanted to know how much of that is really angry Allan dressed up as Kiwi doing all that.
Well, you know what? It was all angry Allan. That was just a front.
I think so too.
You know, so it's really no secret. I really didn't like the Kwee, but don't get me wrong. I'm thankful for the opportunity of doing that character. But if WCW would have just kind of let me do something different, I think my career would have went in a different direction. Well, not that I'm knocking the Kwee character. You know, it got me on TV and it gave me an opportunity. You know. And
you did a great job with it, man. That's what I'm saying. I love the video. I love the intros and that character itself. So great job.
Yeah. That's the MWA Podcast Network, man. First class. They did all that video for me, and the Cicadas is the music, the band that done the music for that. So thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
So, and also I got to start out here, Chad. Both of us have to say hi to Annette over there in Melbourne, Australia, Victoria. So you got to say hi to Annette.
Hi, Annette. Loyal fan, man. Yeah,
she's my #1 fan. So we got to say hi to Annette. Also, I want to say hi to Amy Gower Official. She loves you. She's promoted you all week on her Instagram. So we appreciate Amy doing that for us to help us out here.
Yeah, man. Right on, Amy. Thanks.
Yeah. So she shared me or you on the banner I had yesterday on her story. So we appreciate everybody trying to help us out with the podcast. So heck, I don't even know where we left off last week. Maybe talking about your monster truck deal. You haven't really drove a monster truck since what, 2019, you said?
Yeah, I've been out. Well, let's see. So COVID, all entertainment was really pretty much shut down, and I was actually retiring in 2019. I was full-time in the office. I was also working as director of operations and logistics for all the international events. It's my job to go and bring monster trucks and containers and set up for the events, and as well, I've been groomed for that anyways for the last 20 years too.
All right, so you're not just a dumb athlete, man. You got a brain on you. You got to do the office stuff.
Well, and I was for a while, right? We just talked about my credentials of playing football and pro wrestling and driving monster trucks, but I learned quick that an injury happens, you're looking for a job, man. They don't want you anymore. So
yeah, you got that right.
When the monster trucks came in there, I said, yeah, I'm going to drive your truck, but I need a plan B once this stuff's over.
Oh yeah. So you're in the office now. How's that going?
Well, I'm not in the office right now. COVID shut it down. That was an opportunity for me to get out and start my own company. So I'm full circle back into my fitness stuff. I'm managing personal trainers. I've got a delivery and assembly business for some of the sporting goods company, Dick's Sporting Goods, and some of the other ones.
Okay.
And I also I'm an authorized dealer for some other fitness equipment. Body Solid for one. My buddy's the CEO out of Chicago, so I can go do some sales with that too. So I'm having a blast, and then I'm my own boss and running the world.
Awesome. See, and that's why we got to catch up, because I don't know any of this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I was telling you beforehand, I give Evan Courageous, I'm trying to get him on the show. I give him your phone number, so he's probably going to be calling you.
Yeah, man. I love to hear from all the boys. You know, it's been so long. We've been all running our lives, and now it's time to catch up and go over some of these stories. It's just great lives that we've lived. And pro wrestling really has prepared you for a lot of this stuff. For sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you want, you're in the, especially in the kind of atmosphere we were at the power plant with getting our job threatened every day if we didn't do something right. So I mean that'll make you mentally tough real quick, or to break you. And none of us got broken, so it kind of helped us out.
Absolutely. Only the tough survive. And I'll tell you too, also reading people, reading the crowd, getting over with the crowd. This is real world stuff out there.
Yeah, I got you. What's up, Low Rider? Low Rider says, hey.
Low Rider, all right.
He does one of our podcasts on Sunday nights, Nights at the Gimmick Table.
Awesome.
Man, talk about having a hand in everything. That's right. Chad was he's the jack of all trades and master of everything.
Yeah, well, like I said on the last thing, I don't know if it's a good thing or something. I just can't hold down a job, but I've been very fortunate. I have been very fortunate, very lucky. The people I've met all around the world, I can't trade for anything else.
Oh yeah. Now, did you go overseas with the monster trucks?
Absolutely. Japan, Australia, many times in Australia, and that's in this backyard in Melbourne there. We've been in Sydney. All South America and Brazil, monster trucks in Costa Rica. Can you believe I'm at Costa Rica and Panama?
Damn.
Saudi.
So how did they get the trucks over there? On a boat, obviously, right?
On a boat. I flew 12 monster trucks from Saudi Arabia back to Florida.
12? Like in a 12. C4 or what?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Holy crap. 12 of them suckers.
The Sheik paid for it all too. We had to get back for our domestic season starting in December. And so the only way we can get them back with enough time is fly them suckers. And it was, what a ride. I mean, and they're custom machine. It's not like going and looking at a Ford. This is all tubular chassis, custom built. I had to make, and we were a manufacturer. So we built these things in house, put in VIN numbers and rock and roll, man.
So you don't just stick a key in there, start it up, and then pull it up on the airplane, huh?
No, man. It's 1,500 horsepower running on alcohol. So it's like dragster motors, brother. It's
so how much fuel would you to start it up and get it on an airplane? How much fuel are you using for that?
Just to get it on? Well, a lot of times they're not going to let us do that. We put it on a flat rack.
Oh, okay.
Outside, and then a big old monster forklift will come in and pick it up and put it on another rolling chassis, and then they take it away and load it up on the airplane themselves.
Now, see, I call bullshit on this. I'd rather just fire it up and drive it up on there.
Well, let me tell you something. After that happens, well, no matter where you are in the world, everybody's so enthralled with what Americans do, right? We do everything bigger and better. So I've got pictures of people in Saudi Arabia after it goes out, and these are people that work in the airport, are taking selfies of this thing, of Gravedigger, sitting in the background with this big old C4. So it's
dang.
all over the world. Panama did the same thing. We had to fly one truck back, or to Panama, for a special event, and then back.
Now, when you get these on a boat, how long does it take them to get over there?
12 days. Well, depending on the boat, how many starts. But if we go to Costa Rica, it's about 4 days. You go to Europe, it's 12 to 14 days. 36 days to go to Australia. And then you go do all these stops at each port, but the seawater does some major damage to the electronics in there. So we have to make sure that everything's prepped up and packed up right and water sealed.
Damn. So did you ever get any of these, just say, what's up, King Mega? Have you ever get any of these boats get mixed up like your luggage at the airport, and then you get to the show and you ain't got a truck?
No, man. The show must go on. So I'm following it. To be a freight forwarder, and actually too, that's the other part of a job I just got too, is I'm now on the other side. I was a high maintenance customer where I had to interview freight forwarders to make sure that they're going to be qualified to move our trucks and move our show. I mean, the shows, you know, you've been part of the live show. They have to go on. People buy tickets, so we can't miss anything. So these trucks that we destroy every week, put them back together again, put them in a container, and we shut them off into another country. So they got to do this. So no, we follow them. I follow them. You know, GPS. I'm constantly in with our truck drivers and freight forwarders. It was cowboy in South America. It's cowboy out there. Anything can happen. You know, there was a strike at the border, like a Chiquita banana strikes at the border.
Then you got to deal with that, huh?
Quarantines in Australia. You can't have any mud come into the country at all for contamination that might kill, you know,
their environment.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. What's up, Angel? So what do they take when you put them on a boat? You got to take them all apart then to put them in a container, right? So then they got to be clean.
No. Yes, they're absolutely clean. We had great crew, and they knew the severity of if we get stopped by customs or anything, then we're in a show, and then that's going to cost somebody, right? It's like SARS, or somebody's going to pay.
Yeah. Well, you know what you should have done, like Bart Simpson on The Simpsons. You should have put a lizard in your pocket and took it over there, and then screwed up the whole ecosystem.
Yeah. I did hear there was a on the way back from one of the countries and the ice show, because the company I did also owned this ice show. But a cat or something got in the container. It was on the boat for I don't know how long. It didn't make it, but it shut down
died?
Customs. Yeah, it shut down the customs for a while.
Jesus, that's kind of like some of my farts back in the day.
Yeah. But we had to be diligent. I mean, it's just like I said, if you're responsible for the show, it starts with, you know, the talent showing up. Exactly. In your wrestling, you better bring your gimmick with you on the plane, right?
Yeah. Well, see, I always carried my gear in a bag on the plane. I never checked it in because I was so scared. You know. That's
what I meant. That's what the old boys did all the time. Is that you better have your working, because if you don't, then somebody else is going to have their gear. And
they're going to take your spot. Yeah, absolutely.
They don't care.
You learn that pretty fast though. Like, you never really think about that when you're starting out, and then when these guys are telling you, "Hey man, you got to take your gear in a separate bag on a carry-on," you know, then you realize, shit, that's a good idea.
Well, it carries over to, like, the monster trucks was the same way. A driver went down, driver got hurt, driver was sick. Hey, you know, the crew guys, they can't wait to get a chance, but they're just working out. So there's been many of the guys that are just my friends. Hey, you got your helmet? Yeah. Okay. Well, you're riding in the truck tonight. And they end up doing a good job. They end up got a ride for next year. So it's just like that. Then the key is, right, and we learn this stuff, is that the right place and the right time changes the whole world. So damn sure better be ready for it. And that's the pinnacle of my career. Absolutely. Playing football and meeting Eric Watson in college. I'm done with my pro career. Eric says, "Come on into WCW." I didn't know much about wrestling. I'm kind of ashamed to see it, but say it. But as a kid, I'd watch it. You know, the Hulkster and these other guys, and everybody going, but and Piper and Jim Duggan, all these guys were, you know, people on TV. But would I ever thought that I was going to be a part of this? Well, next thing you know, I'm in the ring. I'm being trained by Ole Anderson, the Assassin, right? Jody and Blackjack Mulligan and Terry Taylor, Pez Watley, Sarge. You know, all these people now with all this experience are now training you trying in this business. Same thing happens at a snap of a finger. Dale and I know Mike Weber. We're doing pay-per-view videos. We did the pit crew things. Next thing you know, he moves into the monster truck stuff. Gives me a call out of the blue one day. You want to drive a monster truck? Actually, he said this: you want to drive a monster truck or you want to ride a bull? Because at the time,
I think you picked the right thing.
Well, that's the thing. He said, I think he was joking about the bull, but they own that property too.
Okay.
The professional bull riding.
And yeah, you don't want to get. You're too damn big for that.
Yeah, I was too big for the monster trucks. They had to build one around me.
Oh, really?
But it's just like that. I said no to nothing. I went there and you know, really just watched the show.
Yeah.
And the next week, I was in a bean field jumping, you know, mountains, ramps.
So how was that the first time you climbed in one of those trucks?
I was scared shitless, man. Scared to death. But we were brought in. You know, I was brought in and flown to North Carolina, into a bean field. Dennis Anderson, the creator of Gravedigger in Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina.
That's where he lives?
Yeah. And he was at his shop and he was on a bulldozer making ramps.
Yeah.
As I pull up in a rent-a-car, talk to Mike Wales, and he's telling me all of what's going on. I had to bring my fire suit. I had the pit crew fire suit. I wore that, and I think I sent you that picture.
Yeah.
That was the first day of my first tryout. And
wow.
You saw that it was a tubular chassis. It was Gravedigger 4, and it didn't have a body on it. When I arrived, they were pulling the body off of it. And I'm like, what's getting ready to happen? What are you doing? Why are you taking the body off? He goes, because when you wreck it, we don't want you to, you know, blow up our $10,000 body.
Yeah, the shell, right?
I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, wreck it? What are we getting ready to do right here? They're literally welding in. They took my measurements. They're welding in a seat.
Nice.
Fitting me with seatbelts, and really, I mean, it was like being, and I was tied into this thing, like strapped to a rocket ship.
Hey, so it's pretty much when you first start driving them, you're pretty much going to flip it over or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, what makes it so exciting, and believe me, the technology now today is unbelievable. I mean, but when I first started, they had the coil-over seats. There was no Hans device.
God,
I had a 2-inch collar, and I had long noodle neck, right? So it popped out after the first jump, and my neck is wobbling around here, and it's a rough ride.
So I'm sure I'm not the only one that wants to know this. Now, like I said, you don't just get in this thing, put a key in, and start it. It doesn't even steer like a regular car, right? How do you steer these things?
No, well, it does have a power steering, but it has a rear steer as well. So there's a toggle. I don't know if you can see my hand. There's a small little pistol grip now, but it used to be just a on-off switch going left and right. And you'd be bouncing in this thing, and you'd have to hit this left deal, and the rear wheels and the front wheels will turn together.
Oh, okay.
So you can literally shoot this up in a donut.
Oh, so if the toggle switch was on, the back would turn with the front.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, either way, if you want to go left, then it would turn the rear wheels to the left. If you wanted to turn right, then you'd do the same thing. So
okay, I got you.
But it's sitting up here on a box. That's what it was now. Nowadays, you're sitting here like this. I mean, because of all the technology now and the things that we improved every year, because you know it's racing and it's freestyle and you're trying to get better. So suspensions and seats. You know that seat that you got in your semi?
Yeah. The air ride.
Yeah, those are the type of seats. Well, really, they're a big, comfy seat. We used to have those in the monster trucks. Well, what it did is when you jump and you hit, and the shocks work, it actually work against you. So it spike your spine and your
Damn.
neck. But we didn't know any better until
Yeah.
somebody put in a rigid aluminum seat to work with the suspension and tires.
So they pretty much got like suspension on the seats now. Is that what you're saying?
No, it has no suspension on the seats. It's
Okay.
a rigid aluminum seat, just with very thin memory foam.
Okay.
But it allows you now to work along with the suspension of the monster truck. So
Okay, I got you.
you become one of it. You don't hit. So if you're sitting on a cushion
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you hit and the suspension's working at the same speed, it's just spiking you because it's like right behind.
Yeah, it's got to be rough.
So they learned that changed. That happened 15 years ago, I think. And with all my injury, my necks and all this other stuff, it's a rough ride. It's not like riding down the road in a Cadillac,
No, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure some people are interested in seeing how that, because I think some people think you just get in there and stare, and you got a key and, then you just press the gas with the horsepower.
Yeah. It's literally it's a rocket ship. You can do anything, and my gimmicks. It's like being a superhero. You just do whatever you want to, and you jump out of that sucker.
So how was it? Tell us about the first time you did a flip. Like they go up them ramps, they kind of they're curved a little bit, so you go backwards and flip. How was the first?
Well, for a while there, nobody knew it was not going to be successful, right? So the first one, they
kind of did on accident.
Yeah, it was kind of on accident, and then the dirt crew was really trying to figure out how in the world it happened and what was the best way of making it happen.
Yeah.
So there are some guys that would do it, attempt it, and a lot of times it didn't work out. And I didn't really necessarily want to get up in the air like that and just land on my face without anybody else really kind of doing it. So for a while, I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
Some people would do it. They thought that they would advance their careers. A lot of it made a lot of damage to trucks, and so they only would let maybe one or two people do it because it caused a lot of damage.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of money.
Yeah. Then they got it figured out. You build a little dirt ramp up against the container. The container gives a little bit, and it allows you to kick the rear wheels. There's kind of a trick in it. Once you get it, you spin, you hold the gas down so it rotates. Like, I don't know if you've seen like mess around with RC cars.
Yeah.
But the centrifugal force of the wheels will help rotate you more. So you just don't go and then cut the gas off.
Well, that's kind of like with motorcycles and bicycles too, the way you work the brakes and stuff.
Absolutely right. So the monster truck's the same way.
Oh, okay.
So, and I loved it, man. I always would do them real high, where you get up there and they just soar. So it's like almost in slow motion. You're just kind of seeing, you see the container, you see basically the stadium, and we're in 60,000 in Atlanta for 60,000 people, or the Superdome or something like that. So your adrenaline is rushing, and to see this thing just kind of, to feel it just kind of do the backflip, and then you see the dirt coming, and then you hit the brakes to stop the momentum, and then you bounce it, and then you shake it up, you're like, yeah, all right. And maybe sometimes the rear end's blown off, or a tire blew off, or something happened. But if it stays on all four, you back that sucker up and you go hit something else even bigger.
Yeah, because even if you land perfect, all the weight on those something's liable to break. The shock, anything, right?
Yeah. And again, like I said, the technology of these trucks are to withstand some of these jumps. It's just incredible. I mean, every failed part was reinforced and R&D'd for the next year. So now they're pretty much bulletproof. But there was a lot of time spent on trying to get them right, starting with the seats, the suspension on the trucks that you can adjust depending on where you were, the motors and the roll cages, the centered gravity of the motor, just sinking it down a little bit to keep it from the lot of the sway of the suspension.
Yeah.
But it's a heck of a ride, man.
Now, see, when I was a kid, I don't really like Fords, but I used to have the Bigfoot truck. That was a big truck when I was a kid. And you remember the Bigfoot that came out? It was battery powered, and it had the huge wheels on it. And as a kid, I was like, this is the coolest toy ever. I could stack crap up and it would climb it. It'd flip over and it'd be like kind of going backwards in a circle, on its side. But you had like a little switch. You could hit it forward, reverse, whatever. You remember those Bigfoots?
Absolutely.
That was one of the best toys I had when I was a kid.
But exactly. And this is how even monster trucks became as big as it is, because we tailored to kids and families.
Yeah.
We loved them. I loved them as a kid myself, and to be the opportunity to do it. But that's where our entertainment, the value of what we've learned in wrestling business to be on the stage, right? It's making the trucks come alive with a character that gives them a storyline, to go out there so that people are actually genuinely interested in the person. Like being in a car accident, right? They're concerned for your safety because we're jumping these things and crashing, and they're concerned for your safety.
Now the crowd for these monster truck jams, they're unlike any other crowd. They're genuinely there, and you never have, like, for example, I'm sure you've probably been to a couple of wrestling shows where you had like 20 people in the crowd, like when you starting out. Now these monster trucks, you don't ever have a crowd like that ever, right?
Well, it depends. I mean, I was fortunate enough, right? So I did a lot of the stadiums, but I've also done arenas. I've done fairgrounds, speedways, in the centers in the speedways. I've done hockey arenas. So yeah, we generally get some pretty decent crowds. We've always had a great marketing team that promotes, and of course the commercials and everything that come out, and the radios we would go and do radio interviews and promote.
Yeah.
So yeah, you didn't have 20,000. I mean, you didn't have.
And if you're at a fair, man, as soon as you start one of them trucks up, people that aren't even interested go, well, holy crap, what the hell's that over there? It sounds like a damn rocket ship. Let's go check it out.
They're looking, right?
Yeah.
With that thing, and that's the thing, that's the beauty. It's a giant billboard, and you turn that thing on, and all of a sudden everything stops and people start to gravitate.
Yeah.
It's like doing displays at Walmarts or at car dealerships. All they want to do is hear it start. And people will wait around till you move that sucker just to hear it start. 1,500 horses and a 540 blown Merlin motor, which is basically a Chevy big block.
Yeah.
But unbelievable. But that's the thing, is that you're riding on the back of a dinosaur. This thing is a 10 foot 10,000 pound spring steel and rawhide.
Yeah. Kind of like a wrestling ring.
Right.
Where's all the trampolines and stuff? Where's all the stuff that when you flip it, you're getting, you got the trampoline like everybody says in a wrestling ring.
Right. Did that ever help? Did that work?
Shit.
Still, a bump is a bump.
I remember I used to take this guy, one of my best friends down here in Atlanta. So I go down to, remember Frank that owned Good Old Days, what we used to wrestle at, we talked about. Yeah. So he had this school down here, and it was in the worst end of town, Chad. I don't know if you remember where Fulton Industrial is. There's a bunch of strip clubs on this road. Yeah. I'm talking the hood. Like Hardbody Harrison would be hell pressed to go there by himself. And I ain't kidding. So if anybody knows who I'm talking about, Hardbody Harrison, he'd probably be afraid to go in this neighborhood by himself. So he had 4 rings set up in this. It was actually in a strip club, Chad, this wrestling school. So we'd go back to this wrestling school, right? So I took a buddy of mine there one day, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to see these wrestling rings. I want to, because he never was been in the wrestling ring, so he wanted to go with me to train because that's when I was wrestling for Lucha Libre USA, and I'd go down there with Chris Long that used to run Good Old Days.
Yeah.
Because he was wrestling with me and Mark Jindrak on that Lucha Libre show.
Right on.
So I take my buddy in there. I just have him hold the bottom rope, and he was kind of a short guy. I'm not going to say he was a midget, but he was pretty close. So he grabs the bottom rope, Chad. I tell him to tuck his chin, right? And he leans back, and he just falls. I mean, couldn't have felt more than a foot, taking a bump. And I told him to breathe out when he landed. So he hits, and he rolls over on the side, and he's like, oh. And he rolls out of the ring, and it knocked the wind out of him. And then he picks the apron up, and he looks underneath the ring. And he's like, I don't see it. Where's it at? I'm like, where's Wood at? And he goes, you know, that big spring that's in the middle, like it makes it real bouncy and, you know, it's like a trampoline. I said, bro, I ain't never seen one. He's like, are you serious? None of these rings have a trampoline, like a big spring in the middle, like I thought? I said, bro, no ring I ever been in, dude. So he couldn't believe that. He thought I was lying. He thought I just took him in the only ring that didn't have a spring just because he never been in one.
Yeah. Somebody gets on the internet or somebody tells a story. Next thing you know, that's true. But do you remember taking the first bump like that? How scary it was? I mean, and maybe you were taking bumps anyways when you're, you know.
Well, a lot of people don't know, Chad. Before I come down the power plant, I did some indie stuff, but I never told anybody that because I didn't want to get treated different.
Right.
But
but when anybody does their first bump, though, I mean,
it's
not natural. So there's a bit of an intimidation, and it usually knock your head until somebody smartens you up and says, "Okay, listen, you know, tuck your chin, throw your arms out, and slap, and kind of absorb it." But
I think, you know, I mean, a lot of people that know me pretty well, I remember I really didn't give a shit if I got hurt. I'd be like, it'd jar you or shake your head or your brain would be thumping, and I'd be like, I guess that's normal. That was pretty cool. Let's try it again. You know, and that's how I was when I first started out. I don't even remember I didn't think nothing about it. And then guys would slam me. I'm like, shit, that hurts, but I guess I got to fucking do it, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're trying to break into business, but you know, they're into my mind. I mean, because coming from football stuff, it's, you know, one day you're making big time checks and the next day you're hurt and you're looking for a job. So there's a little bit of that been going on in my third, fourth career now.
So Lowrider says some of the rings with the spring under them are the stiffest. I don't know where the hell he's wrestling at, but have you ever seen a ring with a spring in it, Chad? Because I haven't.
You know what? I want to say that I had seen it once, but it's not that it does anything to you. What the spring is just the old wood underneath all the freaking mats. You know that, right? Building these rings.
Oh, man.
So anybody that thinks there was a spring, it was just when you're running the ropes, it's the wood that's bouncing this damn thing in a rhythm.
Well, yeah, people don't realize. I mean, now the WWE rings were a little bigger than the WCW rings. I think the WWE rings are 20 by 20, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the WCW were 16 by 16. But those boards are 16 foot long, so they got a natural give to them. But when people see that, they're like, oh, yeah, it's a spring. It's like a trampoline. That's why they're bouncing.
Yeah.
But, you know, anytime
it didn't help.
Nah, hell, it didn't help nothing. So he said, Lowrider said that was at Gleason's gym. So I guess, I guess some guys up there at Gleason's gym weren't as tough as the power plant guys, but I ain't saying nothing.
Well, I'll tell you what, the spring, if it makes sense, the spring probably hurt you worse. So I would.
Well, yeah, because there's steel right in the middle of that. The spring is probably, I would imagine, under the plywood, and not the actual. What were those, like 8 by 4 by 8s or whatever the hell? Them big.
Yeah.
I don't really know. You know, I'm not too much of a carpenter, but I know them big studs that went across the middle of those things.
Yeah,
they were some thick, solid damn wood. So I imagine, I don't know how that spring was set up, but if it was just right under the plywood, I bet that would friggin' hurt because you're hitting steel right on that plywood.
Yeah, it'd give it more. I think it'd make it more rigid. I was thankful for some of these rackety old wood and steel rings.
I know. We talked about hard body a little bit. Did you ever wrestle in his ring? That short one he had?
No.
It was real short to the ground, like he had the poles cut. And me and Chuck Palumbo and probably Elix Skipper and Rick Cornell, we did a show in an armory up in Kennesaw.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. Maybe in front of 5 or 6 people. But you know, back then we're wrestling like we're wrestling in freaking Madison Square Garden with 60,000 people.
Oh,
so
yeah.
But man, you take a bump in this ring, dude, and you would literally say, "That's it. I'm not taking another bump." It was that stiff. And then here Chuck would pick you up and slam you. I'm like, "Damn it, Chuck! I said I ain't taking no more bumps." You know? And then he'd pick you up and slam you again because he was so excited.
Yeah.
So,
no, I don't know the hard body ring.
Yeah, well, you're lucky. Consider yourself lucky on that one.
Yeah.
No, but you got any funny hard body stories?
All I know is that there's just a bunch of stories or something about hard body or something. What did they say? I think somebody's. I'm trying to think of something.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You can say it.
Well, it came back to something that hard body was saying, and then the rebuttal was, "Listen, I don't come to your job and knock the broom out of your hand." Like,
oh shit!
Hardbody was trying to talk to people about how to wrestle, and then like he interrupted somebody that knew how to wrestle, and he said, "Listen, I don't come to your job and knock the broom out of your hand." So,
oh shit!
And he just got butthurt. I think he always got butthurt some ways, but it was always funny. I mean, there's something you got to be ribbing. Somebody always ribbing with him, and a hardbody story.
But yeah, I don't know if you ever heard this story. I think I told this before on a podcast. But hardbody, you remember I had that old Dodge red pickup truck?
Yeah, vaguely.
So hardbody, one day they were giving some of the old equipment away down at the old power plant on Carroll Drive down there off of Chattahoochee or whatever. Yeah. So and you remember how that gym was a piece of crap, bro. Yeah. So they had you remember all that old lifting equipment in there, just stuff that wasn't worth a crap. Like it would have been better off just thrown in a dumpster, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So he had this machine. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say something. I remember when Jody Hamilton went and bought this thing out of some old crappy gym somewhere, and I think Sarge and Pez and everybody had to go pick it up, and it arrived, and it was like, this stuff was ancient, and he bought it for us.
It was ancient years ago.
Years ago.
God dang, bro. So he had this, I don't know if you remember this machine. It was all the way back in the corner. It had like two handles on it, and you sat on the seat, and you kind of rode, or you kind of really didn't do shit with this thing. It was pretty much worthless.
Yes.
All it did was pinch your fingers or your legs or whatever, because it had little pinch points all over the damn thing, and it was rusted, and it wasn't even the original color because it was so old and dirty. Right. So hardbody gets an idea. He wants to take all this crap home. So he puts this piece of crap in the back of my truck without me, didn't ask me. Then he comes in there, and you know how he talk. Hey dog, I put something in your truck. You're gonna take it up to my house today after we get done with the fire plant. Dog, okay, dog. Like take it up to Kennesaw, dog. And I'm like, this motherfucker, I'm gonna fucking smack the shit out of him. Like, I was like, hardbody, I'm not taking anything up to Kennesaw. I live down the street, and the damn traffic, if anybody's been in Atlanta traffic at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon going up 75 north, knows you don't just get in the freeway and get up there to Kennesaw in 10, 15 minutes. Right. So I told him, I said, I am not driving into traffic, hardbody. I said, you should have asked me before you even put it in my truck. And, you know, he was being hardbody like a dick. Yeah, hey, dog, you're going to take it to my house, dog. I said, all right, hardbody, I'll take it to your house. Remember there was a pawn shop right up the corner of the street, Chattahoochee Road there, in Howell Mill Road. So I took it up there. I got $20 for this piece of crap. And I had to, you know, they give you the slip for the pawn or whatever if you bring it back or whatever, you know, right. Or, you know. So I go to the school. I get $20 for this piece of crap, like I said. So I'm like, good. Fuck this guy. You know, he did this shit. You know, he put it in my truck, didn't ask me. I said, I got $20 for it. He can kiss my ass. Right. So then the next day at school, he comes in here. He's like, dog, where's my machine at, dog? I didn't see your truck. Like, where's it at? And I give him the ticket from the pawn shop. I said, if you want it, it's up the pawn shop. He's like, what the fuck? What, you took my machine to the pawn shop? I was like, yeah, you dumbass. I said, next time ask me before you put something in my truck. But hardbody was the type of guy where if you let him do that shit to you, he would take advantage of you every day. So he learned real quick that I wasn't the guy to think he was just going to do that shit to.
Yeah. I don't even know if I was ever really in the ring with him.
You're lucky. Consider yourself lucky.
Well, we would do our own things. There were some tag arounds and stuff like this. Hardbody, I don't know what he was doing. He was always teaching somebody something.
He was out there teaching somebody how to do some crooked shit, probably.
Yeah.
He was always looking for a way to screw somebody out of money.
Maybe.
And then you see where it got him. He's in prison right now.
Yeah, I think I heard that.
Yeah, he was running it after. He got like $1 million on that WCW lawsuit he got in on.
What?
Yeah, it was Sonny Ono started this lawsuit in WCW, like a racial lawsuit. Him, Bobby Walker, and all these guys got in his lawsuit, right? So they all got paid, like good paydays.
No way, really?
And you remember the big Colombian guy, Davis, we called him. The big goofy guy he was just a big guy. He wasn't that athletic, but real nice guy.
Yes, absolutely.
He even got in on that and from what I heard, he got like 300 to 500 grand, and he wasn't gonna do nothing.
Is that true? Are you kidding me?
It's definitely true because I've heard it from way more than one person.
I heard that it was going on, and then it just went away, and I don't know whatever happened. But
well, it's because you weren't black or anything, so it didn't involve you. You had to be, you had to be other than a white guy to get in on this.
All right, I don't know.
But I'm just being honest. Then Elix called me, I remember one day, and said, "Hey, this lawsuit's going on. What do you think I should get in it?" I was like, "I don't know, Elix." I said, if you get in this, you might shoot yourself in the foot if you're trying to get anywhere else. I didn't really know. Yeah. And so I think somebody called Elix, wanted him to get in on it, but he didn't. And then afterwards, I said, "Damn, Elix, you should have got in on that. You might have been a millionaire."
You start with that kind of money, you start your own little federation.
Well, no shit, right? But yeah, but I just always thought that was funny because Davis was a good guy and stuff, and I think he was under a developmental contract for a little bit there, but he was about athletic as a broom handle. Not saying nothing bad about him, but he was just a big guy, and he never got the business very good. You know what I mean?
Well, he was a good dude, and that I think sometimes helps out if you can connect with the boys. And there's always some type of a gimmick. Somebody will put you over, and I liked him. There's a lot of guys I liked.
I liked him. I got along with him good, but as far as like he just didn't have the business in his head, and I don't think he was ever going to get it. He just didn't. Because, a lot of times we'd be in the ring and Paul would be there and we'd all get in the ring and do stuff. He was afraid to get in the ring because he couldn't do anything. And he didn't want to expose himself.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody took the time to really teach him. He came in a bit late, I think. And then Orndorff came in. And then, Orndorff's seen it all. So now he's expecting people running spots. Let's do this, run this. And now you got guys that haven't quite gotten to that level, and now you're like, well, how are we going to do it right or wrong? Because nobody's really teaching anything.
Yeah, but Paul. Now, Paul, if you had a good body or you were a big guy, you were automatically, bro, you're going to make thousands, millions of dollars in this business. You remember? You know how Paul was. Absolutely, his eyes would light up, and he'd be like, "Fuck yeah, kid! Look at the body of this kid." Like another guy, which I actually saw him. Maybe 2 years ago, Brett Yoakley. You remember the big jacked up dude with the long blonde hair?
Yeah, I do.
From like Arizona. That dude was incredible, his body, right?
Yeah.
But again, he was probably Davis was more athletic than him. So he was less athletic than a broom handle.
Right.
But I'm not trying to say nothing bad about the guy. I'm just trying to demonstrate how unathletic this guy was for looking like he was you look at the guy, you're like, man, this guy's athletic. Just look at him. Yeah. And that's what Paul thought every time he looked at somebody like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And just like Jocko, remember Jaco Strauss or Jakes or whatever they called him with the big synthol arms?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And Paul took him. Remember when Paul took him up to the Arnold Schwarzenegger show in Columbus, Ohio? What's up, Blue-Eyed Brandy?
I don't remember. I don't remember him. I remember him down at the Platte and all this stuff, but I don't remember what had happened, with
they shot a vignette up there at the Arnold Schwarzenegger show where he was walking around and everybody's like, "Oh, look at this guy's arms," and Paul's like, "Yeah, this is my man." You don't remember none of that stuff?
Well, I don't know, but they were fake arms, right? He shut them up.
Well, yeah, he was shooting that synthol in them, that oil.
Yeah.
Because now I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to mention any names because if they want to talk about it, they can. Now, this is how dumb we were back then.
Yeah.
And I was maybe 26, 27 years old. And you think I have a little more sense in this. So Marius, remember his manager, Marius?
Yeah.
So Marius was built like a brick shit house too, man. Yeah. So they talked me and one other guy, they talk us in right before we go wrestle at Good Old Days one Friday night to go get some synthol pumped in our biceps, and we'll be all pumped up for the show, right? So we go over to his apartment and literally let this joker stab us with like 22 gauge needles in our biceps and pump like 50 cc's of oil in each bicep.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
And, me and this other guy, we're thinking, hey, man, my arms look big, like, but it didn't really make a difference at all. But we're thinking, shit, do I look like Jake's now?
Did it work? Did it work at all?
from what I understand, I've never, other than that time, I never experimented with this stuff other than that one time.
Right.
From people that I've known that used it and stuff, you have to be consistent with it, because if you only use it a couple times, your body will absorb it. So you got to do it like weekly or something, or I don't know if it's daily or weekly or however they do it. But and if you ever seen some of these guys do that, they got like misshaped biceps, or their triceps are kind of square. Even their biceps might have like a flat spot on top of it. So I was just stupid. But I can admit it now, because I'd never do shit like that right now. You know what I mean?
Well, I just never did any of that stuff. I was all natural all the time. So I just had a big fear. I had a big fear of being 53 now and not be able to walk. So I'm glad that I have all the things I can still do.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of us did take some stuff, and Paul Wardorf actually told me one day, we were watching a video, and I had taken some stuff to get, like, we started doing the TVs just so I was in better shape. And I gained a little bit of weight, and I look pretty good, but I always took pride in my body. I always thought I looked pretty good anyway. And so Paul's like, we're watching this video, and Paul looks at me, and he's looking at the video, and he's like, what were you on right there, kid? And I said, well, Paul, I was on, on some tests and some DECA and, some Equipoise probably. And he's like, get back on it, kid, or you're fired. Oh, God. And I was like, what? He's like, fuck, get back on it, kid. You're going to get fired. So I left right away and called my buddy and got on the shit again.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, because, I mean, I'm thinking, how many times has Paul said you're going to get fired? And, you're scared to death you're going to get fired. So I went home and told my wife, I said, hey, Paul told me I had to get on some shit, so I need some money out of the bank so I can go buy some shit.
You think he was serious, or did you believe anything he said?
Oh, what? Dude, he was dead fucking serious.
Oh, hell.
Because we went in his office afterwards, and he's like, yeah, he goes, you need to get back on the shit. He goes, you lost a little bit of weight. He goes, they might stop using you if you get any smaller. So I'm thinking, well, fuck, this is bullshit. But I'm like, what?
Paul, in one of our when Bill Goldberg was just breaking in, right? And we went to our first Disney. He and I traveled together for our first couple events, and we went to Disney together. After that show, he said, Orndorff said that I need to shave my body down. He said, I told him to fuck off. I ain't doing none of that stuff. So he didn't need to shave his body.
God. Well, I mean, Goldberg was in a little different position than I was in. Let's be honest. He was a golden boy. He could have took a shit in the ring, and they would have found some way to get that over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's a little different situation. Now, I remember Terry Taylor told Helix Skipper to shave his squirrel tail off the top of his ass cheeks. Right in the middle of his back. I remember Terry, we're out in like Oklahoma or something. Terry comes in the locker room, and Helix is getting dressed, and Terry looks at him, he's like, what in the hell is that growing on your back? And Helix like, what? So Helix is looking, he's like, and Terry goes over, he goes, that squirrel tail, what the hell is that shit? And I started laughing, and he's like, you need to shave that, get that shit off. So Helix comes over to me with a fucking razor and says, hey, can you shave that? I can't see it. So I shaved Helix's damn squirrel tail off his freaking ass cheeks. I'm sure you probably did that for Dale a time or two, or Eric.
Nope, never had to. These guys, see, I had partners that had good hygiene and grooming habits, so I didn't have to worry about any of this stuff.
Yeah, but Helix was a couple years older than me, but he was still a little naive in the wrestling business, man. Like you could talk him into a lot of shit in the wrestling business.
Well, he's risk taker. He's good to have matches with because he would do anything too. So
he's unbelievable, bro.
Spontaneously, he was a good worker. You were a great worker, and you didn't have to call anything in the room. You know what I was going to say about when whoever he said, Arn or somebody they were stripping everything out and all your matches.
Yeah, Arn and Finley when they were the agents.
Well, I watched a YouTube video on Roddy Piper the other day, and he was talking about all these people that are doing, the scripting of matches, and that stuff's just got to go. He was talking about WWE and stuff. He goes, I wanted to clean everything up. This was years ago, right? I just wanted to clean everything up, and because they never called anything, or they called it all in the ring.
Yeah.
And never did anything in the back.
Now, was that interview in like a empty arena where he's sitting in a chair and the guys interview him? You see the other chairs and stuff?
I think so, yeah.
I started watching that. I wish I would have finished watching that now.
Yeah. See, you watch some of these old videos and even some of the stuff on WWE, right? The old guys talking about stuff and real life. So, I wish that stuff was even. I mean, we should have been watching these videos at the power plant at least 20 minutes a day, just to kind of get an idea of psychology and working skills and habits and what they expect out there in the world, right?
Yeah.
As a young kid trying to break into business. So, but there's people like Rowdy and Rick Rude and those guys that just could manipulate a crowd. Stone Cold manipulate the crowd, make them do whatever Are you kidding me? They make Stone Cold can make a whole crowd say what?
Yeah, I know, right?
Print it on a T-shirt. I mean, that's control. That's power.
Yeah, man. That's amazing. Shit, everything The Rock did was that way,
Yeah.
But the bad thing was a lot of those things they did were pre-taped, so they played them at the show, and they wasn't live, and they still got the crowd interaction.
Exactly. But that's when the crowd would like. They dig it.
Oh my God, that shit was incredible though. So, well, speaking of Helix, not to get off subject, but I'm meeting him Saturday. We're gonna eat lunch together. This guy, I hadn't seen him in a while.
Right on. Is he by you, or he just happened to be?
Yeah, he's actually. I live in Douglasville, and he lives in Douglasville. But I thought he was in Villa Rica, and then he was. The last time I spoke with him a couple years ago, he was in like Nashville or something training for his job he was doing. So I didn't know if he moved there or not. But
well, this is a great thing what you got going on with this podcast, because all the old boys are starting to tune in. I think. I mean, this is
it's awesome. Yeah,
you just happened to come up on my Facebook thing, and I tuned into the Dale interview and some of the couple other. I'm just having a ball listening to some of these old stories and
and that's when you sent me a message in.
Yeah.
Seeing
the old boys and seeing they're still kicking and rocking and rolling out there, it's great.
Yeah. It's that's the thing. Like I told you earlier about this podcast, man. It's opened up some doors for me to get back in contact with some guys.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think we were talking about that even with Dale too. Is just to get in a round table, just a big table, face to face, if that's ever possible, some type of reunion, and just go back and forth on some of these talks. And
I'm working on that, man. It's hard to get everybody together.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
So just like I told you. Like I'm telling you, whenever Dale wants to do it, I told him last week after I got off with you, I said, I'm going to get in my car. I'm driving down, picking you up, and we're going to go hang out with Chad.
Yeah.
And if I got to get a hotel room, whatever, we're going to go to dinner and hang out or do whatever. And just to actually see you since it's been 20 damn years,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Come on and do that for sure. I mean, we're right here. We're by the beach. We can do whatever the heck. We'll hang out for a while, and it'll be a great time to catch up.
Yeah, I'll make a long weekend out of it, and my boss is going to have to live with
it. That's all right.
Yeah, man. But like these times freaking fly when you're on the show. We already got 54 minutes in. And it seems like I just introduced you.
Well, yeah, and I'm wondering where my surprise guest is. Who's going to chime in next? I'm going to be a little disappointed.
I think you're going to be disappointed tonight, Chad, but it wasn't from lack of trying. I told you, Evan Cray just told me he would jump on, but he said, I'll probably be so drunk I won't know how to click on.
That's all right. Well, I'll catch up again.
So then, I wanted to get Rick Cornell, but he's at work right now. So, and he's on, he's 3 hours behind us. So
yeah,
it just didn't work out. But, I could get Angel Medina could probably pop in here, or a Lowrider, one of them guys.
Yeah. Well, they need to give us some feedback on how all these stories are going. What does it mean to them? About these stories about our experience in WCW.
Well, I just looked at the numbers. We got 4,000 people watching the show right now, so somebody's interested.
Right on. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So
yeah, these are once in a lifetime experiences. Even though nobody made it on the superstar belt, right? Nobody's carrying the belt around, but we've got the same experiences that everybody else had. It's been
That's
great.
Right. So Annette says we need a part 3 of Chad Fortune.
Oh my God!
Or wait a minute, no, wait, part 3, all of you together. I don't know. Well, we got to have part 1 and 2 first, Annette. Quit being so silly.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
I do all the, like I wanted to do at the beginning is all the people that I've had on here. The first interview I did was Chuck, and which was great because Chuck's kind of real, laid back, but he was such a good interview because he's just, it's hard to explain. He's just like, it's like he's drinking a beer and just talking to you,
Right.
And he's just laid back and he's like, yeah, Al. And I like how he calls me Al, it's funny. And then and then we just had a cool conversation, and then like with you and Rick and Dale and so I had Sarge on here. You got to check out Sarge's interview.
I did. I got pieces of it.
So,
I missed
dude, if I can get all of us that's been on here before all together in one show, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a power plant reunion, and I guess people want to see that crap. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I think so. I mean, even like the story. So the story of that picture, even there behind you, right? Soldier Fortune stuff.
Yeah, tell them about that picture.
Well, this is a gimmick that I was going to put together. I put a whole proposal together. Soldier of Fortune. I was going to be part of I wanted to be part of the Masterpiece No Limit Soldiers.
Yeah, with Brad and them.
Yeah. And so I presented this, made these pictures out, had a whole proposal, what it meant, is the, the side of minorities and stuff. It was really great fun. And it was great fun using that stuff. I presented it and didn't hear a word back. Well, this has been sitting in a file. Well, throughout the monster trucks, I had a DC Comics sponsorship, so I got to be Superman. Now, who the hell doesn't get to be, Superman is a dream come true, and
who's going to turn that down, right?
It was a heck of a deal. And then when the DC sponsorship went away, Marvel came on board, and I was Captain America. So I went from Superman to Captain America. Playing superheroes, and again, living up the entertainment part. Driving around, crashing his truck on the biggest pile of crap, and getting out and doing the post in front of 60 and 70,000 people. It's electrifying, right?
Hell yeah!
Can't even explain it. So, but when those two went away, their sponsorships. So of course they go away when the money goes away. So with this, I brought this gimmick out. And they said, because they were looking at some type of a military type next, and they asked me, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? I go, here's my gimmick. Here's what I did in wrestling. This was the whole proposal. Let's build a Soldier Fortune truck, because Soldier of Fortune is copyrighted with the video game, and there's a magazine too. So we just shortened it Soldier Fortune. And made a truck. It was a tribute to our military, the veterans, and the family of the veterans, and it had a storyline, right? It had something that people could buy into. World Finals, we always had big giant military vehicles surrounding it, and I'd do every show. I'd do a call to all the veterans and all of the military people to come to home, and sit around with me, hang out, sign autographs with the fans, meet and greet.
That's
and
awesome.
It's they're also their time to kind of shine. So in my retirement, I gave them, they still run the truck, my truck, and then we have a Black Ops truck too. So it'll never die.
Awesome.
But it's just like, if it didn't work in the wrestling, they didn't really buy into it. They didn't give me the shot. I saved it. I brought it into a whole other company, and they're using it. We're using it. Had a career out of it, and you just never know what.
That's awesome, man. See, now I could have had a pink damn monster truck with the hair sticking up in it,
and they would have loved you. They would have loved you. You would have gotten over for sure.
And then if I didn't win, I'd rip my clothes off and go chasing after all the other monster truck drivers, and
that's right.
Be angry Allan,
Right. It was tough though. It's tough in the early days because these are hardcore drivers, right? They wanted to go out there. They worked on the trucks. They had a lot of pride, and they weren't wanting to get into all the hype. When I first broke in, I was actually, while they were building the truck, because I was too big to fit into one of their normal monster trucks. They had to build one for me, so I was actually doing a NWO gimmick, and I remember being in the Superdome and got so much heat messing with the drivers and doing interviews and stuff like that. And then the crowd, of course, they're getting calls from the office.
Yeah.
And the vice president actually had to pull me over and say, "Listen, we don't want to make this hokey. We want to make this serious and stuff like this." And I told them, I go, "Do you not understand what's happening? Is that they're responding, whether it's good or bad. Your cheap people are tuning in. That's their
hell yeah.
That's the fans' natural reaction, is to react to what we're doing here. So we're doing it right."
But what you're saying, the other drivers really didn't like it, though, right?
Well, yeah, because they didn't. I'd approached them to work gimmicks, work a little angle here.
Yeah, because they're hardcore drivers. They're worried about winning, driving, and not having none of that hokey pokey shit.
Good old boys. And like some of them would, and other ones didn't want anything to do with it. They're like, no, this is not wrestling. This is not this. I'm like, you don't understand the power of entertainment, man.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
People will never forget you.
Yeah, no kidding. So were you friends with Tom Meents? He was the one that come in there and was driving Goldberg's truck in WCW, right?
Absolutely. Yes. We, for the first 10 years, we were all Dennis Anderson, Tom Meents, Medusa. We were all on the A team. We would do tours together. And I mean, we'd scatter around.
Yeah.
But it was like the A team that we would do all the big shows as the highlights. So we'd all come in and we'd all end up at the World Finals. But Tom, great friend. Dennis is a great friend. Great stories too, right? While we were wrestling, they're in the mud trucks, and the stories of Dennis Anderson with his old jalopy piece of crap school bus with a monster truck, towing a monster truck, sleeping, working on trucks in the middle of cornfields, and he's a great interview.
Well, that's pretty. Lowrider said he actually saw you driving Captain America in 2012, probably down in Florida, I would imagine.
Wherever he's at, but we were all over the place, and that was a great gimmick too. So I was able to, I gave away a shield after every run. In fact, got out of the truck and simulated, a battle.
So you give it to a kid?
Then I'd run up to the stands and then give it to one of the kids, hold them up, and photo shoot. It was awesome. It was just great. What great opportunities.
Hell yeah, that's a good way to get a crowd following too.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm still getting these fan mails from kids that were, 5 years old at the time.
Yeah.
Sending pictures, now they're grown ups and getting ready to start their own, families. And I'm telling you, they'll never forget.
Lowrider said that was at the Orlando Citrus Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Lowrider was probably, I wonder if Lowrider got a shield.
No, I'm sure. Maybe he did. Who knows? But Orlando was great. That was built for monster trucks. It was an open air concept. They had huge pit parties. They'd be cooking barbecues and drinking and just having a blast.
Yeah.
And then the show would come, and it was just this aura and electricity hanging out. It was just awesome.
That's cool, man. Yeah, that sounds like it'd be a hell of an adrenaline rush, man, doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially if you landed one of them backflips and then jump out of the truck and just pose and God dang, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, but you're making a difference in some of the young kids and what we did, we'd sign autographs forever. We'd have 3-hour and 5-hour pit parties. So we're
at the end of the show.
Before the show.
Oh, before.
And then at the end of the show, they don't do them anymore, but we would be there to the last person left, and there would be lines till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Lowrider said I would have marked out for the shield.
Well, I have one left.
Shit, I would have marked out for the shield. What are you talking about, Lowrider?
Yeah.
I'd have marked out for the Chad Fortune necklace.
The dog chain?
Yeah, man. The dog chain right there.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was just a dog chain. I tied it up in
But that was your most comfortable gimmick I seen you in, as far as wrestling wise, I think.
Yeah, who was it? Somebody told me that I had to take it off. I said, nope. Well,
it was probably Paul.
I think it was before Paul.
Might have been Sarge.
Somebody, I don't know, but I just told him no. It was part of the gimmick. The boots, you just buy into your own stuff or your own shit. And
you know who told it was probably Dice Train, baby. Dice Train said, baby, get that necklace off, baby.
Well, it wasn't gold, so it had no value.
Now, do you remember? Was Tank Abbott down there when you were in there, or were you gone by then?
I don't even know when he was there or not, but I remember. Gosh, probably not. I think he was there just as I was leaving or something. I'm not sure.
Okay, that Joker boy, he'd come in there, Chad. He had like a couple teeth missing or whatever, so he had like I don't know what you call it, where you like whatever they call those. So he'd pop that out when he wouldn't even get in the ring, like hardly at all, never. So he would just come there to work out. He would drink vodka all night, then he would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and run 20 miles. He'd literally run 20 miles.
Oh.
Then he'd come to the power plant and work out weights while we're all in the ring. And, Paul and them wanted him to get in the ring, but they never would say anything to him. So he'd go there. He'd pop this thing out of his mouth and put it in a tennis shoe on the floor, like his other tennis shoe he had there. And he wouldn't even wrap it up, put it in a baggie or nothing. He just set it in a shoe. And then because I spotted him a couple times and I'm like, dude, you just put that in your shoe? And he didn't give a shit. And he'd squat or bench press, whatever he's doing. I'd spot him. Then he'd pull it out of the shoe and put it back in his mouth. He didn't care. So I just wondered if you had anything to do with Tank Abbott when he was down there. Uh-oh. I can't hear you. Uh-oh. What do we got here? We got some technical difficulty. Can't hear you.
How about now?
Okay, yeah, I got you. What'd you do there, Chad?
Well, I was getting a phone call, and I turned them off, and then I was Blake. You won the call waiting game.
Well, I better win the call waiting game.
Get Angry Allan all hyped up.
That's right. I'm gonna go get my pink clothes on so I can rip them off.
Shoot on me while I'm gone and talk about it.
Yeah, so shoot, man. We've already been an hour and 7 minutes. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Just other than that, this is a great thing you got going on here. I'm glad to see a lot of the guys that we used to hang out with. It's good to see where they are today. You're all my buddy, man. You're all my friends from back in those days.
Yeah, man. We'll always be buddies, man.
Always have these memories and experiences that we'll never forget. But that's like I said, we're out there trying to build more future, and whatever I can do to help, and I'll be glad to come back on more podcasts just to shoot the shit.
Yeah, well, you got to come back for the reunion show. But thanks, Blue Eyed Brandy. She said we had a great show in Annette. So I appreciate all you guys tuning in. Next week, I'm going to have a buddy of mine that I wrestle with in Lucha Libre USA with Jindrak. His name is John Anderson. I don't know if you know anything about this guy. Guy's super jacked, dude. He's a pro bodybuilder now. Talking about like you doing everything. This guy did. He used to be on ESPN on the strongman competitions with like Bill Kazmaier and those guys. He wrestled in Japan. He wrestled in Mexico. He wrestled with us in Lucha Libre. Now he's got his own personal training facility. He actually trains like professional athletes, diet wise and stuff for, to get ready for whatever sport they're doing. So, he's got his hands in a lot of stuff. So he's going to be on next week, John Anderson. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Cause he's a great guy. And he's one of these guys that he won't pull no punches, and he'll tell, if you got questions, ask as many questions you want. He'll answer just about anything. So he's going to be a good interview, I think. So we need you to tune in for that, Chad. We need you to tune in so you can ask him a question. He actually lives in San Francisco. I think he's originally from Arizona, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
But real good dude. We used to go to the we'll find out next week. But you got to see this guy, dude. We'd go eat dinner. He'd get like freaking prime rib, like a prime rib steak or a 24-ounce steak. He'd order like 5 of them. That's all he'd eat was meat. Just give me the meat. And he'd be sitting there eating it. I mean, this dude was incredible. I remember I roomed with him one night, but he was just a cool dude, just down to earth. And he's a professional bodybuilder now. So you can imagine he's built like a brick shit house. So, it's gonna be a good show next week, man. But Yeah, I had to give him a little bit of plug. I told him I was going to mention him on the show, so he's excited about doing the show. So, but yeah, Chad, thanks for coming on here for part 2. But don't. I'm gonna run the roll my roll my motherfucking B-roll. But don't go anywhere yet. I want to say goodbye to you.
Right on, man. See ya.
So, all right. Well, thanks for tuning in to Get Funked. Next week, John Anderson, strongman, wrestler, overall badass, IFBB pro. So check it out. Oh, shoot. You know what? You're going to have to bear with me for a second, Chad. I'm an idiot. All right, here we go. I'll see you in a minute, Chad.
Now, man.
I mute the mic. I forgot Preston told me he had to step out. He couldn't finish the show. And I didn't have the damn stuff pulled up in my video. That's only the second time I've ever done that, so I'm still trying to learn this shit. You know what I mean?
Well, at least you saved the day, man.
Yeah, all right. But isn't that intro video is fucking cool, isn't it?
It is great, and these are the things that will last forever, right? As long as I was always trying to think about that. Is all these things that I've done.
Yeah.
You know, I always felt like that I wasn't at the peak of it all. So I didn't really take the pictures that I should have taken the pictures. I didn't mark out like on some of these all-star games and these times in the locker rooms with, you know, all kinds of Reggie White and Jim McMahon and all these other freaking superstars. Just never did, because I was like, well, there'll be plenty of time for this because I'm going to be around for a long time. And
the wrestling. I think it's never going to end, bro.
Yeah. But this is the kind of stuff, like, you have this video and I love it. I love watching it. It was a great gimmick and you played it well. And so you have this and you'll always be able to kind of keep going.
Hey, I mean, as long as you're on the internet, it ain't going anywhere, right?
No, good or bad.
You know what? That's one of my biggest, if we would have been, if you'd have had Instagram, Facebook and stuff, when we were down at the power plant, we'd probably all still be mainstream freaking TV personalities. You know what I mean?
No doubt. I mean, we worked hard. Like I said, we showed up every day to work.
Yeah, exactly.
With a dream, with the intent to going, you know, getting on TV and doing things. Some of these guys, I don't mind.